I think everyone liked like really stupid, dumb stuff as kids, and I'm definitely like no exception. Um, and today I'm gonna dive way too deep into one of those things for some reason. You know how Steam will like track how many hours you spent in a game to like make you feel bad about yourself or something? Well, I'm glad that only applies to game launchers and wasn't around when I was like a tiny little baby boy, because I have like 400 hours in my most played game on Steam, and I guarantee I've played the game that I'm going to talk about today a lot more than that. To talk about it, I think it's important to realize that it was a very different time in the world of gaming, especially if you were a kid. So let's go back to the year 2010. You're a tiny little child with a gamer brain, and you need to play something. Issue is, your computer looks like this, so you can't, like, run Minecraft or whatever was popular at the time. So what's the modern kid solution to this? Well, today companies will pump out, like, extremely easily digestible games that'll run on a friggin' bottle with a battery attached to it or whatever, and kids eat them up, but boomer rant over. Of course, anyone alive in the 2000s knows that the answer back then was Flash games, and like, yeah, sure, you could play Stickman Murder Stickman 5, but that lacks one very important thing: social interaction. So you go to your mom and you're like, "Hi, mother, I wish to use the Facebook to make friends and peers." And your mom's like, "No, you're gonna get murdered, sonny." And that is true and awesome. That is the best thing your mom ever did for you. Facebook absolutely sucks. So you go back and you scheme and you're like, if only there was some sort of online social network for kids. A cute little game that fronted as a fun little animal playground that was entirely educational. That would show them. And you look up, you do a ton of research, and you find, well, I guess most of you found like Club Penguin or whatever, but that's not what we're talking about today. I didn't play that game. Shut up. You found Animal Jam. Now, I know your adult Giga Chad brain is like, okay, well, this looks dumb, and like, yeah, true, but for a kid, this was super cool because if for both them and the parents, it looked pretty appealing. On the kid's side, it was this cool game where you could have an animal character and like, oh wow, I can customize it? Whoa, I can make it red and black? This really expresses who I am. Nobody's ever made this look before. On the parent side, Animal Jam is a game about learning and nature, and there's the, like, learning dots, and there's the learning feeder.
Geckos live on every continent except Antarctica.
And the friggin' National Geographic logo is everywhere, so that means it has to be educational, right? Now, with just how purely accessible this game was, a lot of people played it, including a younger version of myself. So I just wanted to talk about its creation, evolution, and of course where it is today. Spoiler alert, it's not very good. So this is the world of Animal Jam. Notice the many lands, the customizable dens, the art style created by Taylor Ma that seamlessly blends 2D and 3D elements for resource preservation, but also gives the game a sense of character. Along with, a buddy system, a trade system, that one will be important later on, and just a ton of stuff. For a browser game, this game had a lot of content, and for a kid, that's kind of cool. And it all starts with this man, Clark Stacey, who ranks below Reggie and above Steve Sinclair on my list of video game dads. He's also very buff and scary, but he wasn't always like this. In the early 2000s, he had frosted tips and also was insane.
Hot Wheels Velocity X began as the product of a diseased mind.
Him and fellow Utah University State graduate Chris Johnson worked for Beyond Games before eventually founding their own company, Smart Bomb Interactive. This company originally just made a bunch of work-for-hire, like, licensed games, most of note being the infamous B-movie game, but they were really desperate to get their own IP out there, anecdotally calling random companies asking if they'd fund a project of theirs, and eventually they did, and they got a deal with National Geographic, changing the focus of their company to entertainment with substance, or educational games. Now, good old Clark had a very interesting philosophy about how to do this. He called it, like, why chocolate-covered broccoli sucks and zucchini bread doesn't. The basic mentality was that if you hide the fun behind educational content or vice versa, the kid will see through it and know that you're working for their education and not their entertainment, and they will understand that the game is not really that fun-filled. This is the chocolate-covered broccoli. However, if you mix them together and make the education part of the entertainment, the kid will be incentivized to learn more by themselves, along with learning and having more fun. This dude was without a doubt passionate, and I don't think that went unnoticed when Animal Jam was formally released in 2010. There's a lot of obvious love and passion that went into making the game, and it actually stayed that way for a couple of years. The game was a success. You could play it on almost anything, being a browser flash game, and most importantly, it was free and had a relatively non-aggressive monetization scheme. See, while most current free-to-play games have loot boxes or premium currencies, Animal Jam had the really old-school membership system. While there was a lot of content that you could only access with a relatively cheap membership, most updates contained content for both the member and non-member players of the game. That's pretty much the story of Animal Jam up until like 2013, and while Animal Jam had yet to reach its heyday, I think this is around the time where the first seeds were planted that led to the state the community is in today. Remember when I talked about the membership system and said it was kind of cool? Well, in 2013, Animal Jam released Diamonds, and they're exactly what you think they are. It's a premium currency that you can use to buy, like, animals or whatever, and it actually replaced the monthly member gifts. You would get 10 diamonds instead of some random object. However, 10 diamonds could only purchase one animal, one den, or a couple accessories, so to efficiently spend them, you had to either save up for many months or just buy the currency altogether. But yeah, sure, game development costs money. As long as they're consistently releasing updates and respecting the players, all should be good. 2014 was a weird year for Animal Jam, despite not quite having reached its zenith yet. This is around the time where they made one of their first big mistakes, in my opinion. To explain what exactly they did, I have to describe the trading system, which I'm not sure that I can do to someone who didn't play this game as a dumb little child. This is going to sound like a joke, but I've played many games in my life, and I swear to God, none have had a more complex trading economy than Animal Jam. Oh, you want to trade for my headdress? Well, that'll cost like 5 black longs, which, oh, you want a black long that's going to be like 3 pinks, and oh, what's that? That's a short one? Well, that's worth much less than a long, you friggin' idiot. That's only going to get you like a couple of den betas, or a friggin' wristband, or Don Cheadle. This stuff was pretty intricate. I still can't believe that the child audience of this game had the cognitive function to like understand half of this. Rarity was determined much more by supply than demand, and there was a huge spectrum on how rare something could be. Anything that wasn't available in stores was usually worth something, and there were other items that took players years to acquire or even find. Additionally, this economy was almost entirely natural and player-controlled. There were few items that signified success, namely this, a spiked collar. Now, with that out of the way, I can continue my story. In 2014, Animal Jam released Eagles, which allowed players to fly in the game. And to demo this, they had a minigame or adventure that allowed you to fly around as the Eagles. And, of course, it was fine gameplay-wise, but the issue is you could win spike collars from this adventure. So not only had they messed with the economy by putting one of the rarest items into circulation, but Eagles being a member diamond animal, they had also put it behind a paywall. People rightfully got mad. Well, not necessarily a mistake. Of note is that 2014 is also the year that Animal Jam released Play Wild, which was sort of like a mobile version of the game. And it looks bad, runs bad. They ported it to Steam for some reason. It absolutely sucks, but it was a success, so you'll hear me talking about it more. So nothing really happened in 2015 other than just one of the most strange and funny things. So Smart Bomb Interactive, the company that developed Animal Jam, changed their name to Wildworks, and I don't know why. In a certain interview, Clark Stacey is talking about this, and he says,
This was pre-9/11. We found soon thereafter that calling your company Smart Bomb was no longer a popular thing to do.
Issue is, though, in the exact same interview, he says that the company was founded in 2003, which was 2 years after 9/11.
We got started in 2003, actually, and we were called Smart Bomb Interactive.
So not only did you lie about why you changed the name, but you picked, like, the worst possible fall guy for it. This still baffles me to this day. I don't know why it happened. If anyone has any information that could, inform me of anything, please contact me. I'm very scared. Boy, 2016 was without a doubt Animal Jam's biggest year. While there's no solid reason for this, my theory is that in addition to being a big year for the internet in general, The people that joined the game when it initially got big had grown up and started to develop their own hobbies, including making videos or art or whatever. Because of this, a large community started to develop on social media, and that not only brought a lot of people to the game, but also added sort of spice to it and a reason to stay in it. There was drama, idols, content. A lot of people made Animal Jam content. It was all bad, but some of them got upwards of 250,000 subscribers. However, there were also a lot of smaller ones that had like a little localized following of their own. On a completely unrelated note, there's definitely going to be a comment under this video that's like, "Oh, I don't know why I subscribed to this guy." And those are two completely unrelated statements right there, buddy. In 2016, Animal Jam was the biggest game site in the United States with over 50 million registered users, so the community was in full swing. So I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about not only like 2016 stuff, but just the Animal Jam community in general. A lot of the community ran older than the target demographic, think like early teens. So the community is about what you'd expect from that age demographic. You'd go to the hub worlds and there would always be like people arguing about the dumbest stuff or like taking each other's items. It was wild. Additionally, there were celebrities in the community that had their own drama, which was equally mind-numbing. There was this one kid that like drew a picture with a highlighter or something. I don't know. It was a whole thing. So one of the funniest things about Animal Jam is that not the entire community was like way too old for the game. There were really dumb children in it that just like somehow got a hold of Screencast-O-Matic, and God knows what happened after that. This content is just so funny and comically bad and makes absolutely no sense. Like, one of the things I really wanted to talk about is... One second, I need to sit down. I need to sit down for this part. It's very important. So in the game, there are 4 like dumb animations or actions that your animal can do. These are hop, play, sleep, and dance. Well, to you, a grown person, that's just a dumb gimmick to keep kids entertained. But what does the 8-year-old community that has nothing better to do think of this? You see, if you have 2 accounts, and you have one sleep and one hop, by the way, I'd like to thank my favorite channel, Animal Jam Mating, for that one, because obviously they patched it out in like 2011, but not before some like Karen saw it and like complained about it, and it became like this huge meme in the community.
Pencil, stick.
It's just so stupid. Why would anyone do this? What are you gonna gain from it? That does actually lead into my next point, though. Even beyond the 8-year-old community of the game, people usually tried to push the boundaries that the game set for them, namely the chat filters. Since at the time the chat filters used a list of blacklisted words, you could get around it pretty easily just by like putting spam in between letters or spacing out your words. For the luck, go visit my Instalogram. I'm going to the Stripe Club. Later on, though, they changed the chat filters to be dictionary-based, which made it nearly impossible to discuss anything even remotely obscure. I will explain why this is important in a second, but for now, I really just want to focus on how big of a year 2016 was for Animal Jam. Animal Jam got so big that it released its own line of toys that was available at most major retailers. Animal Jam and its YouTubers not only had a presence at VidCon, but actually had their own little convention in the middle of a park. This had never happened before, so it was pretty big, even though I'm sure that was a really fantastic event to attend.
I'm such a big fan. Oh my god, where is she?
What about me?
Animal Jam had a pretty significant social media presence. Not only did it have the aforementioned community celebrities, but some pretty prolific people actually talked about it as well, including Goodman and Badman. Also, like, blog spots were a thing for some reason in 2016. Namely Snowy Claws, who I actually used as a research source for a lot of this video, so thanks. Snowy Claw actually later got an internship at Wildworks and is actually still somewhat active. I was looking into this, and her most recent post was about baking gluten-free bread, but she abbreviated gluten-free as GF, and I thought she was saying that she baked her girlfriend, and I was confused. But anyway, Animal Jam was experiencing a huge boom. What could possibly go wrong? So I should probably explain how WildWorks had been treating Animal Jam from 2013 to 2017. After the release of the Diamond Shop, it got progressively more focused towards the premium currency. Almost all major items by this time were not only member, but also only available through diamonds. So even if you had a membership, you had to pay more to consume this content. Yeah, again, game development costs money, but when your business model is to get people hooked beforehand to incentivize them to support you further, that's not a very good look. Additionally, the lands are kind of like hub worlds of the game that had the primary social function. Like you'd trade there, you'd talk to people there, you'd good versus evil, my den. I don't beat evil, I'm already evil. These lands hadn't been updated in almost 5 years now. Alternatively, they'd use these resources to pump out these massive dens every, other week. These were bigger than any land. You could never fill them, and most of them looked really bad and were completely lazy. But you know what? They came at a cost of diamonds. So of course they're going to release them often. But perhaps the most just blatant, disgusting display of WildWorks greed involves a building known as Club Geos. Now, Club Geos is pretty much what you'd imagine. It was just this little building in the main hub world of the game. You could take pictures in it, I think, but you could dance in it. The game's for 8-year-olds, mind you. And it was just this little innocuous, fun little place. And in 2017, it got destroyed by the bad guys. This is, hands down, the second worst thing to happen in the history of buildings being destroyed. Because after destroying it, they replaced it with another diamond shop. They had literally destroyed a fun part of the game to replace it with one that would make them money. That's some gold-plated broccoli for you right there. There were also just a ton of signs that the original passion and vision of the game had been lost. In 2017, National Geographic and WildWorks cut ties despite having a contract that would go on until 2024. Clark Stacey had stated years prior that they would never put consumables in the game, and completely backtracked on that statement when they released user-hosted parties. Additionally, there was just a lot of quality of life stuff that showed that they just really did not care about the game anymore and were getting lazy with it. There were two pretty prominent UI glitches that surfaced around this time. And they've yet to be fixed to this day. Oh, and also, this is kind of weird. So they released a new den, which was a very shameless just reskin of another den. And if that wasn't lazy enough, for some reason, it was just compressed and lower res than the other one. Again, what? It was pretty clear by this time that they had dedicated most of their efforts to play wild, but even then, that was still pretty heartless looking. By the end of 2017, only about a year after its prime, most of the Animal Jam community had all but died. Almost all YouTubers had stopped producing content by this point, and as I said, even when I did play the game, I didn't really like this, but it's so weird to see this genre that I kind of grew up around just gone. So any remnants of the community that somehow survived 2017 definitely had died out now. Except my boy Fantastico AJ. He's a Brazilian Animal Jam YouTuber. His videos will not fail to give you a stroke. They are so chaotic. Without a doubt, though, it became very evident that WildWorks was losing money. While there's not a ton of recent public information about this company, I have had to dive pretty deep to find anything. I do want to note that I will reference some Glassdoor reviews, which I encourage you to take with a grain of salt, because although they are consistent with each other and with the company's moves, reviews are bound to have a negativity bias and be inherently unverifiable. Allegedly, though, WildWorks went on a hiring spree boosted by the confidence of 2016, and were absolutely not prepared for the crash of 2017, and had to lay a ton of people off. Oh, also they went back to doing work for hire and made a Ryan's Toy Reviews game. I don't know if that was a monetary necessity or if they're just completely shameless in partaking in child exploitation, but that's a thing. On the development side, though, things were very bland. Most updates to the game were just reused events from previous years. In 2018, they did add a new land, though. It was very bland and contained one building, and do you know what it was? It was another diamond shop! Alright, its current year, Animal Jam is now 10 years old and in a very dilapidated state. I assume because most people who played it were like, hey, on like literally any other social platform, I can say the F word, and I kind of want to do that. Also, this game is for tiny little babies, and I'm a grown-up, so there's absolutely nothing in this game for me, except these 2D platformer things. They made like 2 of them and then just pretended they never existed. Those were pretty cool. I wish they made more of those. But I digress. This game is a relic of the past, but it still technically exists, so where is it today? In a rare, actually cool move by Animal Jam recently because of the pandemic, they gave away free trial memberships, which actually brought a lot of people to the game for a bit. Almost like if you're generous to your player base, they'll reward you for it. Just kidding. Everyone died 2 days after. WildWorks does have another product in the works, though, Fer.al, which is pretty much the same thing, just aimed at a slightly older audience. It's fine. Alright, I need to figure out what to make my name. Meth is already taken.
That's awesome. Sure, bong is like considered inappropriate now.
No, I got bong weed. Because neither of those would be allowed by themselves, so if I go meth heroin... That's fine. Meth, heroin, weed, cocaine...
This is why it's the world's most popular game.
Yes.
Do you think how popular do you think Fer.al will get?
It seems like it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, but I think it's just the hype of everyone from Animal Jam coming here and being like, wow, cool.
I think if it was just like hype, it would probably be done with it already, though.
Yeah.
It's probably like, at this point, it seems like it's like actual like users.
Yeah, but there's not that much. Have you seen it?
Where is everyone? Or is this like, is everyone at the spawn point? Because there's like people talking, but I don't see.
it'd be really funny if we're just promoting a Twitch stream to like 3 people.
Well, are you gonna record funny moments?
I don't know what
funny moments.
Fine. I don't even know what funny moments that there really are. Other than that, one of the NPCs is named Kino. It's fine for what it is. They seem to be on a better development path than they were for Animal Jam. It is pretty buggy, but they are pretty proactive about fixing it. From what I've seen, some of the environments look cool, and that's about all I can say about it. There's nothing to do. It looks really bad most of the time. It has nothing unique about it. And the chat filters are somehow more confusing than Animal Jam's were. You can say pretty much anything, but you'll get permabanned 2 days later without notice. I don't care about this game and won't play it, but it's definitely worth noting. But the reason I wanted to make this video is WildWorks' most recent move. They have officially rebranded Animal Jam as Animal Jam Classic and given Play Wild the name of Animal Jam. This is subtly but evidently officially cutting off support from Animal Jam, which makes sense. It's a 10-year-old Flash game for children, but I guess I just really wanted to talk about it before it dies, and I definitely think it will, because even though there's a downloadable version of the game, it appears that the Flash version is what most people play, and they've made it hard to access even now, so I don't think it has a lot longer left in it. So why do I care? I think there's a lot to be learned from WildWorks' mishandling of the game, mainly don't misjudge your demographic and respect the players, but even if this game was great and they handled it perfectly, I still wouldn't play it because, you know, I'm an adult. But I guess I just wanted to talk about it because even if I haven't played this game or cared about it for years, it was a pretty big part of my childhood. I'm not a very social person, and before I played real games, I spent most of my time on this one. I met my best friend because of this game. I learned about my love for video production because of this game. It's really sad and dumb to say, but if this terrifying man hadn't made some dumb furry game that I like, I would be a fundamentally different person. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it and complain and, you know, maybe be a little nostalgic because, for some reason, despite this game having, like, more players than any of these games, it is the one that I see least mentioned on the internet. I swear to God, I've seen more memes about friggin' mice singing monsters than this. Why does nobody care? Look, I could talk about Clark Stacy, or Belush for like hours, but it doesn't really matter, and I'm just rambling at this point. But I hope this video interested someone. I definitely had a lot of fun making it and want to make more content like it. So, on the off chance that this meets an unfamiliar eye that enjoyed it, subscribe. I'll probably make another video at some point complaining about something that absolutely no one else cares about. Yeah, it's very warm. I'm gonna go turn on the air conditioner. Goodbye.